My teenage daughter said I was invading her privacy by checking her social media, so I stopped monitoring it completely. Madison burst through the front door last Monday afternoon and slammed her backpack onto the kitchen counter so hard that my coffee mug jumped. "Everyone at school calls me the Fed now because of you," she practically screamed while holding up her phone. I looked up from my laptop where I'd been working from home and asked her what she was talking about. "You commented, 'Love you, sweetie, be safe,' on my Instagram post from the party this weekend, and now everyone thinks you monitor everything I do," she said with tears forming in her eyes. "They literally kicked me out of 3 group chats today because they think you're reading everything through my phone like some kind of detective." She showed me screenshots of messages where kids were calling her a snitch and saying she was the reason cops showed up to the last party, even though she hadn't even been there. "All my friends' parents trust them enough to give them privacy online, but you treat me like I'm some kind of criminal who needs constant surveillance," she continued while pacing around the kitchen. The pain in her voice hurt me because I realized she wasn't just being dramatic this time. I'd been monitoring Madison's social media since she got her first Instagram account at 13 because every article I read warned about predators, cyberbullying, and depression linked to social media. My own sister had dealt with a stalker situation in college that started through Facebook, so maybe I was projecting my fears onto my daughter, who had never given me any reason not to trust her. "You know what, Madison? You're absolutely right, and I'm going to stop checking your accounts right now." Her jaw literally dropped as I picked up my phone and unfollowed her Instagram and the private Finsta account I'd discovered through her cousin last month. Within hours, Madison had changed her profile picture to a photo in a bikini top that she'd never posted before and started accepting follow requests from people she hadn't met before. I watched her giggling at her phone during dinner instead of telling me about her day like usual, but I kept my promise not to ask questions about her online activity. When she mentioned casually that she'd been chatting with this guy Brady who was 16 and went to a school across town, I just nodded and said that was nice, even though something felt off about a teenage boy from another school randomly finding her profile. The next week, she started staying up until 2 in the morning on school nights texting and FaceTiming with mystery friends, but she seemed happier than she'd been in months. Her friend group had accepted her back, and she was getting invited to parties again, which made me think maybe I really had been suffocating her with my paranoia. She even started showing me funny TikToks again, and telling me about drama at school which felt like progress in our relationship, even though my maternal instincts kept screaming that something was wrong. Everything fell apart late Friday night when my phone rang, and Madison's name appeared on the screen along with her sobbing voice. "Mom, please come get me right now, I'm at the gas station and I'm scared," she cried into the phone while I grabbed my keys and ran to the car. She'd told me she was sleeping over at her friend's house to study for their chemistry test, but instead she'd gone to meet Brady, who she'd been talking to for a few weeks. He said he was 16, but Mom, he's like 30, and he tried to lock the car doors when I wanted to leave, and I had to jump out at a red light, she explained through hyperventilating breaths. I called the police while driving and met the police at the gas station where Madison was hiding in the bathroom with the door locked. The man had been using photos of an actual 16-year-old from another state to groom her, but what made it worse was that he'd been physically stalking her for months before ever making contact online to learn her routines and vulnerabilities. He told me he'd been in our backyard during my birthday party last month and described exactly what I was wearing and who was there, and said he could have taken me anytime but wanted me to come willingly. Madison sobbed while showing the officers screenshots of conversations that seemed innocent, but now revealed he'd been dropping hints about things only someone watching her would know. The detective told us this man had done this to 12 other girls using the same tactics of physical surveillance followed by online grooming. "Your daughter is lucky she had the presence of mind to jump out at that red light because we found zip ties and sedatives in his vehicle," the detective said quietly to me while Madison gave her statement. The next morning, Madison accepted my request to follow her again. We then spent 3 hours blocking suspicious accounts and going through the warning signs she'd missed in Brady's messages that seemed obvious now, but had been invisible to her teenage brain seeking validation and romance. Now I comment, "Love you, sweetie," on every single post, and when her friends bring it up, she tells them, "Good, my mom is the reason I'm not in some creep's basement right now."